Welcome back. All right, I want to talk about the Golden Seals/Barons. This was an expansion that immediately looked bad. So the 1967 expansion worked for the most part. The one area it didn't work was Oakland. Now, what's interesting is this: this logo on the jersey is Oakland. This one here is California. This one here is California as well. The logo changed a lot, and yet they still couldn't come up with a realistic looking seal. It's a damning indictment of the design team, but that's the least of their concerns. Coming out of the gate, the 67-68 Seals, playing in a completely expansion-driven division, 6 teams, all of them expansion teams, came out with a record of 15 wins, 42 losses, and 17 ties. And they did this in front of a crowd of 4,890 fans. So what do you do after a season like that? Well, you make a big trade. 1968, June 10th, so this is after the season's done. They make a little bit of a trade with the Montreal Canadiens. They really should not have traded with the Montreal Canadiens. They get Brian Watson and they get some cash. You know, if you ever look back at trades, say in the 80s and before that, it is amazing how many times cash is what was going back the other way. But in return, they gave up the 1972 first-round draft pick they had, which was number 6. Montreal used that to draft Michel Larocque. So Bunny Larocque goes to Montreal in that one. And Tom Thirlby was a player to be named later. He was future considerations, which used to mean a player to be named later. And then that changed, again, right about the 80s. So I'm going to go ahead and say they lost that trade. 68-69, the Seals end up 29-36-11. So their record's better. They do make the playoffs. One of only 2 times this organization did so. They lost in the first round against the Kings in 7 games. So a battle of California right there. Their attendance dropped. 4,584 fans on average in attendance. So that's not great. This is definitely an issue and this is where owners in the NHL, I'm sure, could be heard saying this is why we didn't want to do expansion like this. There were definitely owners that had some reservations with the idea of expanding so quickly, and Oakland definitely didn't work. 69-70, they're still the Oakland Seals at this point as well. They finished 22-40-14. They lost in the first round against LA again, this time in 4 straight. Their attendance went up, though. 6,225 fans in attendance on average. And yet, that attendance is nowhere near what you need to have a successful team. So they decide, all right, we're going to change our branding. We're going to go from being the Oakland Seals to being the California Golden Seals. So that's why I say this is an Oakland jersey. This is a California Golden Seals hat. I don't actually have an Oakland hat. So 70-71 now is the Golden Seals. They feel pretty good. But before we get into the 70-71 season, there's a trade they made as they're becoming the Golden Seals. A bold decision to be made. And it's one that hurts them. They get a 1970 first-round draft pick from the Montreal Canadiens. They should not trade with the Montreal Canadiens for Chris Odlifson and Ernie Hickey. And all they had to give up to get Odlifson and Hickey was Francois Lacombe, as well as, the number 1 draft pick in 1971, which became Guy Lafleur. So now they've handed Montreal Michel Larocque and Guy Lafleur. If you add Guy Lafleur and Michel Larocque to this team, probably a playoff team. At the very least, a heck of a lot better than they are. And, I mean, Chris Odlifson ended up having a decent enough career, ended up playing for the Canucks for a while there. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say not in Guy Lafleur's territory in terms of his overall play and all of that. So the first year as the Golden Seals, now they've traded away a draft pick that's going to become Guy Lafleur, they finished 20-53-5. They're at the bottom of the league. And at certain points, it looks like they might pass LA. So the Montreal Canadiens, knowing darn tootin' well they've got the number 1 draft pick, if Oakland finishes at the bottom, California finishes at the bottom of the standings, they make a trade to make LA just a little bit better. They actually hand off players to LA, sort of like, here you go, guys, that'll help you out. We're so glad we're helping you because they're guaranteeing themselves Guy Lafleur. 5,358 fans in attendance on average, so they lost about 900 with the new branding and the new name, and also with the fact that they weren't very good. Their record does not get better. Like the 29-win season is statistically their best season in the National Hockey League. It's not great. So 71-72, they finished 21, 39, and 18. So they figured out how to not lose games and tie them instead, but they only get one extra win. And for fans in attendance, we're up to 6,091. So you still have breathing room if you're in their Coliseum. Things are not great. So 72-73. Still the Golden Seals. They would remain the Golden Seals until they move. And in 72-73, they finished 16, 46, and 16. Again, you're not going to attract fans that way, and the attendance drops down to 5,354 fans per game. So this is just bad all around, right? The following season, 73-74, they actually get worse. Just think, you've got a team that is coming out of their 6th season. They had 16 wins that 5th season. Then they get worse in year 6. They end up with a record of 13, 55, and 10. That is a miserably bad record, and likely means having a totally awful season to do with, I don't know, anything Oakland. I could do totally awful seasons and just have a whole Oakland playlist with that / California. Not fooling anybody. You can call them California. They're still in Oakland. So 4,850 fans a night put themselves through this misery, and then in 74-75, their wins total gets better by 6, but that's still only 19 wins. They haven't had a 20-win season now in 3 years. 19, 48, and 13. The attendance inexplicably goes up to 6,172 fans per game. But we're seeing discussions of whether or not they're gonna move. So one thing that I've been doing over the last, I'll say 3 or 4 years, I've been collecting old hockey news magazines from the 70s, from the early 80s, from eras that I was not watching hockey. And what's fascinating with the hockey news magazines during the California Golden Seals and Cleveland Barons era, almost every article about the Seals and then the Barons is, so when are they going to fold? When are they going to move? Who's in charge of this tire fire? How can this possibly get worse? So their final season in Oakland, we knew this was going to be a problem, right? They finished 27, 42, and 11. Oddly enough, one of their best records. It's still not good, but it's one of their best records. So their attendance actually went up that year, 6,944 on average. But to put it in perspective, that's still last in the NHL. Second to last was Kansas City, who had 7,892 fans in attendance. And of course, Kansas City would move to Colorado, become the Rockies, and then move to New Jersey and become the Devils. So, due to the low attendance, they decide we're going to move the team. We've got to move the team. We've got to get something going. So, Richfield Coliseum opened up in 1974. Or the Coliseum in Richfield. It's called both. It doesn't matter. It got torn down in 1999. It was open until 1994. Not for the Barons, though. At least not the NHL version. 76-77. As the Barons, the record doesn't get better. 25, 42, and 13. And in the brand new building and any local excitement they'd hoped for, it is not there. 6,194 is the average attendance. The building has, I was reading, one concourse. It's kind of a cramped environment if you have a lot of people. So that's the upside if you were a Barons fan. There weren't a lot of people there, but that means you're going to end up with a team that just doesn't exist anymore. 77-78, the Barons finished 22, 45, and 13. The attendance drops in year 2. So as much as Cleveland tried and they put whatever they could at it, the attendance is not getting better. 5,696 fans in attendance. There were discussions of moving the team, selling the team, and doing whatever you could. But in the end, they are merged with the Minnesota North Stars. The Minnesota North Stars having some financial issues of their own. So it is decided that the Oakland Seals, California Golden Seals, California Seals, California Oakland Golden Seals, whatever you want to call them, now the Cleveland Barons, they're done. And so they're going to get merged with the North Stars because the North Stars are having issues as well. The idea being, well, if we put this team that's underachieving with this team that's underachieving and losing money, merge them together, it should work. And eventually, I do think that's part of how Minnesota turns things around. But for California and Cleveland, it just wasn't going to happen. They had 7 coaches in their history. The best points percentage belonged to Vic Stasiak, who had a 387 points percentage. That's their best points percentage among the coaches. The worst points percentage, Marshall Johnston, 268. I think Johnston ended up coaching for Colorado as well. Might be an interesting video to look at because, yeah, that winning percentage, and if he coached for the Rockies, wasn't much better. But yeah, so they're all-time scoring leaders, and this is for Seals, Barons. Al McAdam ends up being their all-time leading scorer. So they got him in a trade in 1974. So May 24th of 1974, they get Al McAdam, Larry Wright, George Pursuit, as well as a 1974 first. That's a good haul, but they gave Reggie Leach to the Flyers. So, of course, Reggie Leach was going to win a couple Stanley Cups. And there you go. The Seals lost that. January 10th of 1978, they accidentally aided what was going to be a dynasty in the NHL. They get J.P. Parisi, Jean Potvin, not to be messed up with Denny Potvin, but they get Jean Potvin back. And they gave up Wayne Merrick and Darcy Regier to the New York Islanders. Wayne Merrick, not one of the main guys for the New York Islanders, but he was a good support player. He's tough as nails, as most of the members of the Islanders were. And so, yeah, that helps them out. But McAdam, after being acquired in the trade that sent Reggie Leach to the Flyers, ends up being the #1 all-time scorer for them with the 217 points in 320 games. And Dennis Marouk, who would go on to great things in 50-goal seasons up and down through the 80s. 236 games as a member of this organization, 94 goals, 117 assists, 211 points. And goaltenders, Joe Meloche is a good example of a goaltender whose save percentage, goals against, everything just absolutely destroyed by playing behind this team's defense. And it is one of those things where they never got it together. They had 11 seasons. They never figured it out. They never had a 500 season. They made the playoffs twice, lost in the first round both times, and won a grand total of 3 games between those 2 series. So it was a tough time. And this is why when I see people saying, well, do you think the NHL will go back to Cleveland? I don't know. That being said, the San Jose Sharks, when they came into existence, there was a dispersal draft with the Minnesota North Stars. It was in part seen as a resurrection of the Seals, though San Jose did not take that name. They were the San Jose Sharks. But some of those involved with this organization were then involved with the Sharks later. So there's some continuity there, although it's just surface level at best. But there you go. The history of the California Seals and the Cleveland Barons. This would be a fun one to do. I've been doing the big board with all the history videos for the teams. I thought it would be fun to talk about a franchise that is defunct. And it is the most recent defunct organization in the National Hockey League. I think you've got the New York Americans, the St. Louis Eagles, who were transplants from Ottawa, the Pittsburgh Pirates, which I think were a transplant of the Hamilton Tigers, but I can go through all that another time. For today, it's these 2 cities and the organization that just could not win. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.